Welcome back to another one of our hole design videos, and as you'll see we've kind of done some of the work to this one already. Now I wanted to do another one of these, but also kind of show you what I will typically do as I get to the latter stages of the course. So the front nine, as you recall, was pretty tightly rooted and makes, although there's a bit of breadth in and around here, like the holes kind of survive on their own basically. When it gets to the back, I wanted some of these big views, and a lot of what I do tends to rely on getting the amount of spacing right between holes. And at this point as well, once your first 9 holes, you can kind of do what you want because you haven't done anything yet, so you're not repeating the same sorts of ideas. By the time it gets to the back 9, you start really thinking about, well, have I done that before? Is this hole too similar to one I built earlier, etc. So I think it's really important, and you'll see I do it quite a lot, where I'll just put down some placeholder surfaces of how something's going to look and just kind of fly around quite a lot and just think, okay, I'm asking you to hit this shot, and if you go here, what does it look like? And if you go here, what does it look like? And well, if this is going to be a short 4, how does that compare to this one? How does it compare to this one? Are we doing the same things over and over again? We had one here. Sometimes it can be as simple as like it's just in a different setting, so therefore it feels a bit different. That can work, but you want to check that you're trying to even subtly different shots. So I've got a rough idea with this one, and we're going to leap in and look at 13. 12 I think is just going to be a straightforward par 3, so I'm not too fussed on that. 11 took me ages to build out, so we're not going to look at that too much. I did some of that on stream as well. But 13 is going to be all about a drivable par 4. Now I've got a couple of decisions to make. The first one is just how long I want it to be. I kind of want it to be one that's reachable to everybody, so I might bring the tee forward a little bit, which would make sense with 12 and give me a bit more space to work some planting in. And then it kind of asks the longer hitters to hit a bit of a partial drive, which is a slightly less comfortable shot, so I think that's an interesting one. And then we start thinking, well, if you don't go for the green, where do you go? Do you go there? Do you go there? Etc. And you've got some placeholder surfaces in based on the tee that I have currently. And I think my idea is going to be to just force some awkward decisions. So based on the length of the green in this bunker, you're going to want to be as close to this point as you possibly can be. So if you're driving it, like, it's trying to tempt you to drive it, but obviously the big miss is left, and with the changes to tempo, that's going to be a big issue. If you're hitting 3-wood, well, you want to stay pretty close to here, otherwise if you're going too far, you're in the bunker, and your next shot is potentially over the bunker to a tricky green that's probably flowing away. If you bail out too much, so let's say you play really safe, I mean, you've still got a wedge shot in, but it's quite a long one, and it's probably going to be off a downhill lie. So there's lots we can play with. But really it's giving people a lot of options, but still trying to make it so that some of those options are just tough. And we'll try and playtest with wind as well. You'll see with drivable holes I'll playtest a lot more whilst I'm doing them, because you've really got to make sure that if the balance between risk and reward of going for the green is right, it can't be too easy. There's got to be a real punishment in place if you miss, because that's the nature of the hole. But also you've got to reward the good shot and not just the perfect shot, so it's a really fine balance. So yeah, you'll see me probably tear up the placeholder surfaces and bunkers and things, redo some stuff, planting, etc. Look at how it looks from other holes, you know, the usual sort of thing. In terms of this hole and playing differently to others, well, it's the only drivable par 4 that's pure carry. So I've got 2, this one, 3 is kind of drivable. They're in different directions, so that helps. It's also going to be the shortest par 4 on the course. It's going to offer a wealth of options, but each one's making that approach longer to a pretty shallow green, and it's really just playing all along this water side and maximising that. So yeah, that's enough from me. Enjoy! At this point, you'll have noticed me play test quite a bit and just seeing where different clubs land, moving the tee forward. One of the things I have spotted immediately is that just this sharp of a dog leg means no matter where you lay up, you're going to have kind of the same angle in. And I do want to, if we're thinking about a back pin here, you've got to allow people to have that sort of an angle. So I think one of the things I do want to do is it's still going to be a risky tee shot, but we'll try and bring the fairway in this way a little bit more. I think it will make the hole look a little bit better as well. Make it look like it's a little bit more sensible. We can still drag the fairway in on a diagonal or something like that. But the reason being, if you're playing, say, a hybrid down here as tight to the water as you can, think about your angles that you're getting at this pin. You want to be keeping that as shallow an angle as you possibly can, and the further you go, the tighter you're making it and the more you're leaving an awkward pitch over this bunker. So I think that just little bit of allowing a bit more fairway in a good spot is going to make this a much more interesting hole. It will also mean that people can then play a safe 3-wood, 5-wood or something down here. That bunker should still make you think downwind and basically push you into this zone, which it might look safe, but I don't think that's a shot that many people will want to a green that falls away. Certainly it wouldn't be the play that I'd want to be having in. And I think that will make this hole just look a little bit better. At the moment it just looks a little bit too wide for the length of hole it is. So yeah, back at it. Quite happy with how it's going though. Okay, that should about do it for part one. So, as you can see, bunker sculpted. Pretty happy with the shaping actually. Most of them came out okay first time round. I'll keep checking from this angle, and it's hard to tell until they're planted above. But I mean, they're in the right places, and that look should be really good. This one maybe needs a little work still, just at the front, to make sure it looks as good as it can do. But yeah, loving that little cluster there. I tweaked the green shape a little. The reason being, the further, basically want to make you think about missing long as well, and if you're pulling it to the left you're going to have to be really accurate, so it's just forcing a little bit more distance control. You can imagine the green goes out this way, well, you have to be less precise with hitting it long, whereas coming in this way, distance control makes a bit more just matters that little bit more. Additionally, think about if you're laying up and being too conservative. Well, if the green's going that way, following this line here, well, that's a relatively easy play. If it's coming this way, the further right you go, the more you're shutting yourself off and playing a very narrow shot. Green slopes obviously nowhere near finalised, haven't really touched them, other than all I wanted to do was create a general big left to right to left slope, and I think we've about got that the way I want it to. It's just softening the internal ones, and then making sure the bunkers kind of peak and fall at the right points, and I tend to slope the greens around that anyway. What else? 5 tee boxes. I'm doing multiple tees on this one, and I quite liked the fact that I can take it back to here and make driver like only for the longest, and even then potentially downwind or slightly with. That could be a really risky proposition for the front pin, or just completely changes the hole if you're playing to the back pin, like 360 rather than 320. So I think that's about it. The next one I might. This feels like it's going to be a 3-part episode. It's going to take a little while to plant it, but yeah, really like how it's shaping up, and I think this will be a fun hole. Dangerous, but like a lot of fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and see you again next time. Thank you for watching.